Hare Krishna, somebody can please lead the invocation prayers.
Hare Krishna. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakya Chakshuranmiratam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manavistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadadi Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurave Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurave Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sagagana Raghunathavitam Cha Jivam Sadvaitam Savadudam Parnyana Sakitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagagana Lalita Sri Vishagavam Cha He Krishna Karna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopisa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Guruvangi Radha Vrindevaneshwari Rishabhanu Sudha Devi Pranamamayami Haripriye Vanchakalpataru Vyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyayivacha Patitana Pavane Vyo Vaishnava Vyo Namo Namaga Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaurav Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you all for coming to read and discuss Srila Prabhupada and Krishna's instructions. Thank you in advance for applying these learnings in your respective lives. So today, we will first discuss Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, we'll first discuss Canto 5, Chapter 3, and finish this Chapter 3 and this Unit 21. And next week, you all will do your respective presentations for this Unit number 21. So some of you have already mentioned your presentation slots. Others can please do the same. Before we begin, I have on screen the presentation, the bigger presentation schedule for devotees at batch 3 and 4. So from tomorrow, Sunday, May 24th, batch 3 and 4 devotees will be doing these bigger presentations, which you all have done in this batch. So the batch 3 and 4 class is Sunday, Toronto time, 7 a.m., India time, 4:30 p.m., Nepal time, 4:45 p.m. So please consider to join these classes or listen to the recording. Devotees have done spectacular presentations. They have prepared their presentations, which are spectacular. We also have devotees from here, Shivangi, Chandran, and Abhishek Prabhus, who are also going to do these presentations. So try your best to join these extra sessions. The Zoom link is the same. Or listen to the recording if you cannot attend. So for next several weeks, batch 3 and 4 are going to do these bigger presentations that you all have done in your this batch. Is that doable for all? Any questions, comments, realizations?
Hare Krishna. Next week presentation you have already sent us the slots.
So the link is the same. I don't send the link again and again. It's the same link that you have in your email. You can just go to that link and populate your slots there.
No, I do not see in mind. That's why I'm requesting you once again. Usually when you send your Excel columns, I used to immediately choose and message you. But this time, so far, I have not seen, I don't know anything wrong with my computer.
And I have not sent the email. What I'm saying is the link from before is the same on that same Google Excel document. I upload the new unit to present. So you just go to your email and find that old link. I mean, I've said so many times for all to save the link in a handy place and choose your presentation. So I don't have to send the link again and again. You have on the screen.
Okay, this I will take it now.
So you should save that link. It's always going to be the same link. So why do I have to send it again and again? All right. So let's discuss Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 3. And towards the end, I will also answer inquiries from the last class as well as the previous class as well, and the striking points from the both classes as well. So the context or the recap where is that in Canto 5, Chapter 2, it describes the activities of Maharaj Agnidhara. Chapter 3 is titled Rishabdev's Appearance in the Womb of Merudevi, the wife of King Nabi, is divided into 3 parts. Part 1 is verses 1 to 3. Lord Vishnu's appearance in King Nabi's sacrifice. Part 2, verses 4 to 15. Prayers offered by the priests. Part 3 is verses 16 to 20. The Lord's benediction to King Nabi. So this chapter 3 is also short and straightforward chapter. So part 1, verses 1 to 3 is on Lord's appearance. Verse number 2 describes the 7 ways to obtain mercy of the Lord. Is our dear Aditi able to read verse 1 and 2 translation and purports for Kalyani or Sridhar Prabhu?
Hare Krishna. Translation. Sukadeva Goswami continued to speak. Maharaj Nabi, the son of Agnidra, wished to have sons, and therefore he attentively began to offer prayers and worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Vishnu, the master and enjoyer of all sacrifices, Maharaj Nabi's wife, Meru Devi, who had not given birth to any children at that time, also worshipped Lord Vishnu along with her husband. Text 2 translation. In the performance of a sacrifice, there are 7 transcendental means to obtain the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Number 1, by sacrificing valuable things or eatables. Number 2, by acting in terms of place. Number 3, by acting in terms of time. Number 4, by offering hymns. Number 5, by going through the priest. Number 6, by offering gifts to the priests. And 7, by observing the regulative principles. However, one cannot always obtain the Supreme Lord through this paraphernalia. Nonetheless, the Lord is affectionate to his devotee. Therefore, when Maharaj Nabi, who was a devotee, worshipped and offered prayers to the Lord with great faith and devotion and with a pure, uncontaminated mind, superficially performed some yajna in line of pravargya. The kind Supreme Personality of Godhead, due to his affection for his devotees, appeared before King Nabi in his unconquerable and captivating form with 4 hands. In this way, to fulfill the desire of his devotee, the Supreme Personality of Godhead manifested himself in his beautiful body before his devotee. This body pleases the mind and eyes of the devotee. In Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly said, Bhaktya mam abhijanahati yavan yaschasmi tattvataha tato mam tattvato gnatva vishate tad anantaram. One can understand the Supreme Personality as he is only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of the Supreme Lord by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. Bhagavad Gita 18.55. One can understand and see the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the process of devotional service and not in any other way. Although Maharaja Nabi performed prescribed duties and sacrifices, it should still be considered that the Lord appeared before him not due to his sacrifices but because of his devotional service. It was for this reason that the Lord agreed to appear before him in his beautiful bodily features, as stated in Brahma Samhita 5.30. The Supreme Lord in his original nature is very beautiful. Venam Kwanantam Aravinda Dalayataaksham Brahmarvatasham Asitam Buddha Sundarangam. The Supreme Personality of God, although blackish, is very, very beautiful. Hare Krishna.
So there are 7 ways to obtain mercy of the Lord. One is you offer valuable things or eatables. Second is the place should be appropriate. Third is kala or time. Time should be appropriate. Fourth is by offering mantra or hymns. Fifth is by going through the priest, means the priest should be present. Sixth is dakshina or charity to the priest. And seventh is following the regulative principles. And we read in the purport that the actual reason for Lord's appearance is Lord is bhakta vatsal. Being very affectionate to his devotee, Lord appeared before Nabi, who worshipped the Lord with great faith and devotion. Now, doing sacrifices is secondary. The sacrifices were anyway fruitive. Devotion is the primary cause for the Lord to appear. Now, there is a little paragraph before verse 1, which also gives a good summary of this chapter 3. Shivangi, you want to read that paragraph just before text 1 and then also read text 3 translation.
Hare Krishna. In this chapter, the spotless character of King Nabi, the oldest son of Agnidra, is described. Wanting to have sons, Maharaja Nabi underwent severe austerities and penances. He performed many sacrifices along with his wife and worshipped Lord Vishnu, master of all sacrifices. Being very kind to his devotees, the Supreme Personality of Godhead was very pleased with the austerities of Maharaja Nabi. He personally appeared before the king in his 4-handed feature, and the priests who were performing the sacrifices began to offer their prayers unto him. They prayed for a son like the Lord, and Lord Vishnu agreed to take birth in the womb of Meru Devi, the wife of King Nabi, and incarnate as King Rishabdeva. Text 3.
Verse number 3 describes the beautiful features of the Lord. Continue.
Lord Vishnu appeared before King Nabi with 4 arms. He was very bright, and he appeared to be like the best of all personalities. Around the lower portion of his body, he wore a yellow silken garment. On his chest was the mark of Sri Vatsa, which always displays beauty. He carried a conch shell, lotus flower, disc, and club, and he wore a garland of forest flowers and the Kaustubha gem. He was beautifully decorated by a helmet, earrings, bangles, belt, pearl necklace, armlets, ankle bells, and other bodily ornaments bedecked with radiant jewels. Seeing the Lord present before them, King Nabi and his priests and associates felt just like poor people who suddenly attained great riches. They received the Lord and respectfully bent their heads and offered him thanks in worship. Hare Krishna.
Straightforward. Any questions, comments, realizations so far?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, why does sacrificing something we like is pleasing to Lord?
So we have discussed this in our Bhagavad Gita study, that what charity is what you like or what Lord's like, and it is both ways. That what is likable for you, you first offer to the Lord instead of your own enjoyment. That is also pleasing to the Lord, that you are surrendering to the Lord. We have heard from Chaitanya Chandas in Bhagavad Gita, one of the point of surrender, which Prabhupada has also said, that always honoring prasadam is a sign of surrender, that I don't want to enjoy anything for myself. I want to first let the Lord enjoy. So whatever is likable for us, we offer it to the Lord. We are surrendering to the Lord. Abhishek?
Yeah, thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Go ahead, Prabhu.
This is also one way of looking at, detachment is a precondition for attaining. So by offering, we are also detaching ourselves from that, what is being offered. We are not getting attached to the what is being offered.
Yeah, very good, correct point. All right, so now part 2 is verses 4 to 15. Prayers offered by the priest. So we'll read 1 or 2 verses, the prayers, and we'll discuss and highlight some key points. So verse number 4 and 5, prayer is that we are servants. You, O my Lord, are transcendental. And chanting your glories is auspicious. Mother Jija, verse 4 and 5, translation and purports.
Hare Krishna. Text 4 translation. The priest began to offer prayers to the Lord, saying, O most worshipable one, we are simply your servants. Although you are full in yourself, please, out of your causeless mercy, accept a little service from us, your eternal servants. We are not actually aware of your transcendental form, but we can simply offer our respectful obeisances again and again, as instructed by the Vedic literatures and authorized acharyas. Materialistic living entities are very much attracted to the modes of material nature, and therefore they are never perfect. But you are above the distinction of all material conception. Your name, form, and qualities are all transcendental and beyond the conception of experimental knowledge. Indeed, who can conceive of you. In the material world, we can perceive only material names and qualities. We have no other power than to offer our respectful obeisances and prayers unto you, the transcendental person. The chanting of your auspicious transcendental qualities will wipe out the sins of the mankind, of all mankind. That is the most auspicious activity for us, and we can thus partially understand your supernatural purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has nothing to do with material perception. Even the impersonalist Shankaracharya says, Narayana Paro Yuktat. Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is beyond the material conception. We cannot conquer the form of and attributes of Supreme Personality of Godhead. We must simply accept the description given in Vedic literature about the Lord's form and activities, as stated in Brahma Samhita 5.29. Chintamani Prakara Sadmasu Kalpavriksha Laksa Vriteshu Surabhid Abhipalaya Yantam Lakshmi Sahasra Sata Sambrama Seva Manam Govindam Adi Purusham Tam Aham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the first progenitor who is tending the cows, yielding all desires in abodes built with spiritual gems and surrounded by millions of purpose trees. He is always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds and thousands of goddesses of fortune. We can have some conception of the absolute truth, his form and his attributes simply by reading the description given in Vedic literature and authoritative statements given by exalted personalities like Brahma, Narada, Sukadev Goswami, and others. Srila Rupa Goswami says, Ataha Sri Krishna Namadim Na Bhaved Grahayam Indriyaha. We cannot conceive the name, form, and qualities of Sri Krishna through our material senses. Because of this, other names for the Lord are Adokshaya Saja and Aprakrita, which indicate that he is beyond any material senses. Out of his causeless mercy upon his devotees, the Lord appeared before Maharaja Nabhi. Similarly, when we are engaged in the Lord's devotional service, the Lord reveals himself to us. Seva mukhi hi jivadva swayam eva spurratya adaha. This is the only way to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktya Mam Abhijanati Yavan Yas Jasmi Tattva. One can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead through devotional service. There is no other way. We have to hear from the authorities and from the Shastras and consider the Supreme Lord in terms of their statements. We cannot imagine or conquer forms and attributes of
So the prayers we read, the priest say, we are servants, you are transcendental, and chanting your glories is all auspicious. Now the priests are regretful, thinking thinking themselves to be without devotion. Therefore, the next set of verses, they recite these prayers. Dipanshu Prabhu, verse 6, 7, 8. So we are on Canto 5, Chapter 3, translations 6, 7, 8.
Supreme Lord, you are full in every respect. You are certainly very satisfied when your devotees offer you prayers with faltering voices and in ecstasy bring you tulsi leaves, water twigs bearing new leaves, and newly grown grass. This surely makes you satisfied. Text 7. We have engaged in your worship with many things and have offered sacrifices unto you, but we think that there is no need for so many arrangements to please yourself, Lordship. Please your Lordship. Text 8. All of life's goal and opulences are directly, self-sufficiently, unceasingly, and unlimitedly increasing in you at every moment. Indeed, you are unlimited enjoyment and blissful existence itself. As far as we are concerned, O Lord, we are always after material enjoyment. We do not need all these sacrificial arrangements, but they are all meant for us so that we may be benedicted by your Lordship. All these sacrifices are performed for our fruitive results and they are not actually needed by.
Right, so Lord is Atmaram. The priests are saying, oh Lord, you are self-satisfied. Therefore, there is actually no need to offer you everything. But we actually need material benedictions. Well, then the question becomes, why do we always offer or make these gorgeous arrangements for the Lord? And verse number 8, purport describes this, that the gorgeous arrangements for the Lord are for what purpose? Dipanshu, verse 8 purport.
Being self-sufficient, the Supreme Lord does not need huge sacrifices. Fruitive activity for a more opulent life is for those who desire such material opulences for their interest. Yajnanathat karmano yatra loko yam karma bandhana. If we do not act to satisfy the Supreme Lord, we engage in Maya's activities. We may construct a gorgeous temple and spend thousands of dollars, but such a temple is not required by the Lord. The Lord has many millions of temples for his residence, and he does not need our attempt. He does not require opulent activity at all. Such engagement is meant for our benefit. If we engage our money in constructing a gorgeous temple, we are freed from the reactions of our endeavors. This is for our benefit. In addition, if we attempt to do something nice for the Supreme Lord, he is pleased with us and gives us his benediction. In conclusion, the gorgeous arrangements are not for the Lord's sake, but for our own. If we somehow or other receive blessings and benedictions from the Lord, our consciousness can be purified and we can become eligible to return back home, back to Godhead.
Questions, comments, realizations? You understand why we do these nice offerings, gorgeous arrangements?
Prabhuji, if the temples are not built, it is normally built for the society for many people who cannot have in their own home the facility and the environment, and so that they concentrate at least those half an hour, 1 hour when they come to temple. Apart from that, there is a collective, positive vibe in a group. It ensures more devotional feelings or that vibration. That is my perception.
Yeah, so in the temple environment, the Archa Vigraha form has gone through the process of Pran Pratishtha, that the Archa Vigraha form is not some idol. It's actually Gopinath himself. Therefore, the vibration in the temple are always something unique. And the temple is meant to maintain the standards, so that when we go there, we learn the standards so that we can follow the standards at home. And devotees, Prabhupada was actually asked this, and Prabhupada said, devotees can do their chanting and worship any place, but newcomers to attract newcomers, you need to have temples, and then only they will come. Very good.
Hare Krishna, Guruji. This point of Pran Pratishtha, is it like if deities they don't have Pran Pratishtha, are they not considered as Lord's form?
They are still Lord's form, so there is a hierarchy, right? Just as you have low, middle, high. So you can just place the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra in your altar, and that is as good as the Lord. So if you recall, just last week in the batch 5 class recording, there was this question that one of the purport in Canto 2 said, the Hare Krishna mantra is a symbolic representation. What symbolic representation? So Hare Krishna is written in English words, but actually it is spiritual. Even though written in English, it is spiritual. It is a symbolic representation of the Lord. And then you have Archa Vigraha form where the standards are very stringent. So as you progress in your spiritual path, and you are able to follow the stringent processes, then you get the Archa Vigraha form. But still, you can have picture form. It still is the Lord's form. You still follow the processes, but judge for yourself. At least I can tell for myself that I have picture at my altar and I do mistakes. So it's less of a problem when you do mistakes to a picture form of the Lord or to the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra as the form of the Lord, versus when you do mistakes to the Archa Vigraha form. So the standards are stringent. So that's what I was explaining as the low, middle, high terms of the standard. But picture form is also incarnation of the Lord, just a lenient incarnation. Abhishek?
And just also a comment on verse 7 that it is said that like if there is no devotion, there is like the opulent worships the Lord will not accept. So I just thinking that many times, especially in Indian settings, people have worships because of rituals, and it is nice for them to know what is Lord looking for.
Absolutely correct. In 9.26, Krishna clearly says, and in the purport we read, 9.26 is referenced, I think it was in verse 2 or 3, that Krishna says, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. Simple things. But what is the crux of 9.26 is the word bhakti comes twice. Yome bhakta prayachati. And he says, Tad aham bhakti upaharatam. So we have heard from Srila Prabhupada that everything belongs to Krishna. What can you offer to Krishna? What's the value of your things? Nothing. What Krishna is looking for is bhakti, not rituals, not these big, opulent things. They anyway belong to Krishna. So, yes, Krishna is looking for love and devotion, not the items. Abhishek, everybody?
Thank you.
Very good. Now, if sacrifices were not important, then question becomes, why did the Lord appear? And the answer is the Lord appeared by his causeless mercy, because he is bhakta vatsal. Gopal, verse 9 translation.
Hare Krishna, text 9 translation. O Lord of Lords, we are completely ignorant of the execution of dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, the process of liberation, because we do not actually know the goal of life. You have appeared personally before us like a person soliciting worship, but actually you are present here just so we can see you. You have come out of your abundant and costless mercy in order to serve our purpose, our interest, and give us the benefit of your personal glory called apavarga, liberation. You have come, although you are not properly worshipped by us due to our ignorance. Hare Krishna.
And similar causeless mercy is Lord appearing in the Archa Vigra form. And of course, in Bhagavatam, Canto 4, the Rudra Gita and the Puthu chapters, it also describes that association of devotees, when Lord gives association of devotees, that is also Lord's mercy. So if you want to measure Lord's mercy, this is the way that when you get association of devotees, that's the barometer or the measure of how much mercy of the Lord you have. Now, if somebody does not desire for Lord's devotees association, when they don't get. It's only those who desire devotee association, only those get the mercy of the Lord. So now the Lord might ask, not ask, but say, Lord might say that ask for a benediction. And therefore the next verses are on benediction. Chandran Prabhu, 10 and 11 translation.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Is it the Prabhuji? Is it text 9 purport or 10?
10 and 11 translations.
Excuse me, Prabhuji. Please apologize. I am using two.
So mute
Prabhuji,
one of your computer, otherwise there'll be echo.
I need to read the purport of text 9. Am I correct?
10 and 11 translations. Read 10 and 11 translations.
Sorry for the disturbance, Prabhuji. Translation 10. O most worshipable of all, you are the best of all benefactors, and your appearance at saintly King Nabi's sacrificial arena is meant for our benediction. Because you have been seen by us, you have bestowed upon us the most valuable benediction. Text 11. Dear Lord, all the great sages who are thoughtful and saintly persons incessantly recount your spiritual qualities. These sages have already burned up all the unlimited dirty things and by the fire of knowledge, strengthened their detachment from the material world. Thus, they have attained your qualities and are self-satisfied. Yet, even for those who feel spiritual bliss in chanting your attributes, your personal presence is very rare.
So the priests point out the rarity of Lord's darshan, even for elevated sages. The priests ask for benediction to remember the Lord. And the priests point out Nabi's foolish desire of desiring a son like the Lord. So just like Atri Muni in Canto 3, Canto 3? No, I forget it's start of Canto 3 or Canto 4. Well, Atri Muni's discussion that Atri Muni also desired like the Lord. He did not desire Lord to be son. But he says, I want a son like the Lord. So that is material desire. And the same point Nabi is also doing, that Nabi is desiring a son like the Lord. Therefore, the priests are pointing out that Nabi is foolish. And the priest reveal the reason for Nabi having a material desire to have a son like the Lord and not Lord as the son. The reason for this material desire is because Nabi has not associated with great devotees. Uncle will read 12 and 13 translations.
Hare Krishna, text 12. Dear Lord, we may not be able to remember your name, form, and qualities due to stumbling, hunger, falling down, yawning, or being in a miserable diseased condition at the time of death and when there is a high fever. We therefore pray unto you, O Lord, for you are very affectionate to your devotees. Please help us remember you and utter your holy names, attributes, and activities, which can dispel the reactions of our sinful lives. Text 13. Dear Lord, here is the great King Nabi, whose ultimate goal in life is to have a son like you. Your Lordship, his position is like that of a person approaching very rich man and begging for a little grain. Maharaja Nabi is so desirous of having a son that he is worshipping you for a son, although you can offer him any exalted position, including elevation to the heavenly planets or liberation back to Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Right, so you should ask for benediction according to the level of the person to whom you are asking benediction. So sometimes we have discussed this example that if you meet a beggar meets a rich person, say like Bill Gates or whosoever is that rich person from the respective country, and the beggar is saying, can you give me like a penny or a dollar or something? Well, no, he's Bill Gates asking for hundreds and thousands of dollars, and he will still give you. Similarly, a Lord can give you so many things. And therefore, the priests are pointing out that Nabi is foolish, that he is worshipping you, O my Lord, to get a son like the Lord. He's not even asking the Lord to be the son. But of course, we'll go on to read in upcoming verses that Lord is actually bhakta, vatsal, and so merciful that even though Nabi is wanting a son like the Lord, still the Lord himself appeared as his son, as Rishabdev. We'll soon read in upcoming verses. And verse 14-15, it says that unless one worships the lotus feet of devotees, it is very difficult to conquer Maya. Mother Chandranti will read 14-15 translations.
Hare Krishna. Text 14, translation. Dear Lord, unless one worship the lotus feet of great devotees, one will be conquered by the illusory energy, and his intelligence will be bewildered. Indeed, who has not been carried away by the waves of material enjoyment, which are like poison. Your illusory energy is unconquerable. No one can see the path of this material energy and tell how it is working. Text 15. O Lord, you perform many wonderful activities. Our only aim was to acquire a son by performing this great sacrifice. Therefore, our intelligence is not very sharp. We are not experienced in ascertaining life's goal. By inviting you to this negligible sacrifice for some material motive, we have certainly committed a great offense at your lotus feet. Therefore, O Lord of Lords, please excuse our offense because of your causeless mercy and equal mind. Hare Krishna.
Right. So in this set of prayers from verses 4 to 15, the devotee association point is emphasized in these prayers by the priest. And devotion is emphasized in these prayers, not just performing some rituals. No, you have to have devotion. Any questions, comments, realizations on the prayers? Part 3 is verses 16 to 20. The Lord's benediction to King Nabi. That Lord is pleased and gives benediction. Abhishek, 16, 17, translation and purport.
Hare Krishna. Text 16. Shri Sukdev Goswami said, the priests who were even worshipped by King Nabi, the emperor of Bharatavarsha, offered prayers in prose, generally they were in poetry, and bowed down at the Lord's lotus feet. The Lord of the Lords, the ruler of the demigods, who was very pleased with them, and he began to speak as follows. Text 17. The Supreme Personality of Godhead replied, O great sages, I am certainly very pleased with your prayers. You are all truthful. You have prayed for the benediction of a son like me for King Nabi. But this is very difficult to obtain. Since I am the Supreme Person without a second, and since no one is equal to me, another personality like me is not possible to find. In any case, because you are all qualified Brahmanas, your vibration should not prove untrue. I consider the Brahmanas who are well qualified with Brahmanical qualities to be as good as my own mouth. Purport. The word avitatha girbhi means they whose spoken vibrations cannot be nullified. The Brahmanas, Dvija, the twice born, are given a chance by the Shastric regulations to become almost as powerful as the Supreme Lord. Whatever a Brahmana speaks cannot be nullified or changed in any circumstance. According to the Vedic injunction, a Brahmana is the mouth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, in all rituals, a Brahmana is offered food. Brahmana Bhojana. Because when a Brahmana eats, it is considered that the Supreme Lord himself eats. Similarly, whatever a Brahmana speaks cannot be changed. It must act. The learned sages who were priests at Maharaj Nabhi's sacrifice were not only Brahmanas but were so qualified that they were like devas, demigods, or God himself. If this were not the case, how could they invite Lord Vishnu to come to the sacrificial arena? God is one and God does not belong to this or that religion. In Kali Yuga, different religious sects consider their God to be different from the God of others. But that is not possible. God is one, and he is appreciated according to different angles of vision. In this verse, the word Kaivalyat means God has no competitor. There is only one God. In this Shvetashvatara Upanishad 6.8, it is said, Natat samas chabhyadhikas cha drishyate. No one is found to be equal to him or greater than him. That is the definition of God.
Good, straightforward verses. Uncle will read verse 18 and 19, translations and purports. The benedictions discussion continues.
Hare Krishna. Text 18. Since I cannot find anyone equal to me, I shall personally expand myself into a plenary portion and thus advent myself in the womb of Meru Devi, the wife of Maharaja Nabi, the son of Agnidra. Purport. This is an example of omnipotence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although He is one without a second, He expands Himself by Swayamsa. His personal expansion and sometimes Vipisinamsa or his separated expansion. Lord Vishnu herein agrees to send his personal expansion as the son of Meru Devi, the wife of Maharaja Nabi, who is the son of Agnidra, the Ritvija, the priest, knew that God is one, yet they prayed for the Supreme Lord to become the son of Maharaja Nabi, to let the world know that the absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is one without a second. When He incarnates, He expands Himself in different potencies. Text 19. Sukadeva Goswami continued. After saying this, the Lord disappeared. The wife of King Nabi, Queen Marudevi, was sitting by the side of her husband, and consequently, she could hear everything the Supreme Lord had spoken. Purport. According to the Vedic injunctions, one should perform sacrifices in the company of one's own wife. Satniko Dharmam Akara. Religious rituals should be performed with one's wife. Therefore, Maharaja Nabi conducted his great sacrifice with his wife by his side. Hare Krishna.
Right, so the Lord said, I cannot find anyone equal to me. Therefore, I shall personally expand myself into a plenary portion Rishabdev and appear as son of Nabi. Gopal, verse 20, translation and purport.
Hare Krishna. Text 20, translation. O Vishnudatta, Parikshit Maharaja, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was pleased by the great sages at that sacrifice. Consequently, the Lord decided to personally exhibit the method of executing religious principles, as observed by brahmacharis, sannyasis, vanaprasthas, and grahasthas engaged in rituals, and also satisfy Maharaja Nabi's desire. Consequently, he appeared as the son of Meru Devi in his original spiritual form, which is above the modes of material nature. Purport. The Supreme Lord appears or descends as an incarnation within this material world. He does not accept a body made of three modes of material nature: Sattva Guna, Rajaguna, and Tamaguna. Mayavadi philosophers say that the impersonal God appears in this material world by accepting a body in the Sattva Guna. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti states that the word Shukla means consisting of Suddha Sattva. Lord Vishnu descends in this Suddha Sattva form. Suddha Sattva refers to the Sattva Guna, which is never contaminated in this world. In this material world, even the mode of goodness, Sattva Guna, is contaminated by the tinges of Rajaguna or Tamaguna. When Sattva Guna is never contaminated by Rajaguna or Tamaguna, it is called Suddha Sattva. Sattvam Vishnutham Vasudeva Saptitam. That is the platform of Vasudeva, whereby the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, can be experienced. In Bhagavad Gita 4.7, Sri Krishna himself said, Yada yada hi dharmashya granir bhagavade bharata abhayuktanam adar dharmashya tatmanam Srijame aham. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and the prominent rise of irreligion, at that time I discern myself. Unlike ordinary living entities, the Supreme Lord is not forced by the modes of material nature to appear. He appears as Dharman Darshaitu Kama, to show how to execute the functions of a human being. The word dharma is meant for human beings and is never used in connection with being inferior to human beings such as animals. Unfortunately, without being guided by the Supreme Lord, human beings sometimes manufacture a process of dharma by concoction. Actually, dharma cannot be made by man. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat parinitham. Dharma is given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, just as the law is given by the state government. Man-made dharma has no meaning. Srimad Bhagavatam refers to man-made dharma as Kaitava dharma, cheating religion. The Supreme Lord sends an avatara, incarnation, to teach human society the proper way to execute religious principles. Such religious principles are Bhakti Marga. As the Supreme Lord himself says in Bhagavad Gita, Sarva dharmansa pratyajha mam ekam sharanam vrja. The son of Maharaja Nabi Rishabdev appeared on this earth to preach the principles of religion. That will be explained in the 5th chapter of this 5th canto. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purpose of the 5th canto, 3rd chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Rishabdeva's appearance in the womb of Meru Devi, the wife of King Nabi. Hare Krishna.
Very good. Any questions, comments, realizations? Pretty straightforward chapter.
The word spoken vibrations cannot be nullified. I am relating to what you were saying. Though Hare Krishna Mahamantra is in English, but it was originally spoken, and subsequently in Sanskrit and then in various languages. So the word spoken vibration in a temple, when the mantras are spoken there, the vibration is so powerful. That is why the temple construction requires such vibration. This is my perception.
Yeah, you are correct. And at the start of my spiritual life, when I used to be at the temple, and I've said the same point, that when I chant my rounds at the temple, the quality of the rounds is better than when I chant my rounds at my home. And the reason is that the temple, of course, the Lord's Archavikra form is present, and in the walls of the temple, the sound of the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra by pure devotees who visit so frequently, some even live there, that is engraved in the walls. That purity is engraved in the walls, and therefore you are surrounded by pure environment. Therefore, that vibration has that special effect.
Thank you.
All right, so the spiritual endeavor for this chapter is that there are no spiritual endeavor questions. So you will now use the time to prepare for Unit 21 presentation. So next week, you all will do your respective presentation. We have 4 slots. Chapter 2, Sridhar Prabhu is going to present. Chapter 3, Abhishek Prabhu. So we have 2 slots for chapter 1. Can use the link that you have in your email. And if you want, I can send one last time to you so you can save the link in your email. And the subsequent class after the presentation, you will come prepared reading Canto 5, Chapter 4. So now I will answer inquiries submitted by you. So first there are inquiries from Canto 1, Chapter 5. This is from the previous class. So I will bring up on screen inquiries one at a time. Question 1. In the present day Kali Yuga, why does the Lord not select a suitable person or persons to rule the different continents like Priyavrata? Answer is because the present day is Kali Yuga. Hence, to manifest the bad karma, manifest the bad desires of jivas, demons are in administrative positions. When the next Satyug will start, then someone like Priyavrata will be king. So a devotee king like Priyavrata cannot rule in Kali Yuga. There will be too much mismatch between the principles and what persists in the Kali Yuga material world. Now, more important point is that once you recognize that material world is a place of misery, exactly why this question has come up. Therefore, our endeavor should be to go back home, back to Godhead, and not try to fix the material world. Krishna has said this at the start of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, that material world seems complex because it is complex. And do not try to figure out material world. Do not try to fix the material world. Rather, with determination and detachment, endeavor to get out of this miserable material world, just as a prisoner cannot end the prison house. Rather, the prisoner can end his own prison sentence by good behavior. So let's read 15.3 and 4 verse translation Bhagavad Gita. I will bring up on screen. Chandran Prabhu can read Bhagavad Gita chapter 15 verse 3 and 4 we have on the screen.
Hare Krishna. Text 3 and 4. The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. But with determination, one must cut down this strongly rooted tree with the weapon of detachment. Thereafter, one must seek that place from which, having gone, one never returns, and there surrender to that Prabhuji, should I to continue?
Yeah, read the whole translation.
Text. Can I start from text
No.
1?
No,
Prabhuji?
3, 4 you did not complete. So read from here. Therefore, one must surrender.
Therefore, one must seek that place from which, having gone, one never returns, and there surrender to that Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom everything began and from whom everything has extended since time immemorial.
Right. So Krishna says, with determination, you cut down your attachment to the material world with a weapon of detachment. Does that answer inquiry number 1?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Question number 2. Lord Brahmaji's humble descent to persuade Priyavrata, what does it teach us? So same point is in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.4.32 and 33, where Srila Narad Muni, a spiritual master, visits Srila Vyasadeva. For Srila Vyasadeva and Priyavrata, the spiritual masters came. For us, we have to be vigilant. that when we feel dissatisfaction in the heart, we should approach a spiritual master. So the learning is that the mercy of spiritual master and Krishna is always available. We have to be ready to receive the mercy. Does that help with the inquiry?
Yes, Prabhuji, beautiful.
Question number 3, thank you. Why did Brahmaji tell Priyavrata, don't be jealous of Supreme Personality of Godhead? So normally, when things do not go as per our plan, we tend to become envious because this is the default setting in the body. So in Bhagavatam 5.1.11 purport, from where this question arises, towards the end of para 2, after the Bhagavad Gita 10.10 verse, Srila Prabhupada says, it is very difficult to understand the Lord. Therefore, hear attentively and without envy. Does that help with the inquiry? And this discussion will lead into an upcoming inquiry about how to be not envious is coming up. So I will point to 4834 verse for that. Does that help with the inquiry?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Question number 4, a multi-part question. Brahmaji says, Lord has ordered Priyavrata to enter household life. So how was it known that this is Lord's desire? Because Srila Narad Muni was suggesting something different. So we discussed in Bhagavatam 5.2.3 that how does Brahmaji know Lord's and Jiva's desire? That Brahmaji fully represents Supreme Personality of Godhead and carries Supreme Personality of Godhead in his heart and carries out the orders of the Lord. Hence, Brahmaji is also addressed as Bhagwan. So super soul can understand Jiva's desire, and the super soul informs Brahmaji, which is described in Bhagavatam 1.1, Tene Brahma Hridaye Adi Kavaye. So both Srila Narad Muni and Brahmaji are also addressed as Bhagwan. So Supreme Personality of Godhead is asking them to provide contrasting instructions for our learning on how to obey the orders of the superior by dovetailing everything in Krishna's service, so that exactly what Priyavrata showed us, that you don't have to disobey the superior, just find an intelligent way to obey both orders. And then question number 2 says, how will we know what is Lord's desire when taking decisions when conflicting opinions come? So we cannot know Lord's desire. During conflicting situations, we have to rely on Shastra and Guru and Sadhu. And even scriptures at times have instructions going in different directions. Therefore, we need to understand from spiritual master. In Srimad Bhagavatam 4.17.36 says that Lord's plan is inconceivable. Therefore, best approach is to wholeheartedly surrender to the Lord. And in Canto 1, Chapter 9, Bhishmadev also says that it is very difficult to understand the Lord's plan. And therefore Yudhishthir said, well, Lord is standing right beside us. Let's ask him. So Bhishmadev replied that do not ask the Lord, because you will get more confused. Therefore, simply understand that Lord has a plan and you simply focus on doing devotional services. So in essence of time, we will not read 4.17.36. You can read later, where towards the end Prabhupada says that the best course for all of us is to surrender wholeheartedly to the Lord. And Prabhupada gives the example that a super soul tells the thief, go steal. And the same super soul also tells Grahastha, look, the thief will come, so protect yourself. So these are contradictory. How do you understand? And in the purport, Jiva Goswami at the start says that unless you understand Lord's activities as inconceivable, you cannot understand. So read 4:17:36 later by yourself as an answer to questions. Does that answer the inquiry?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
All right. So now I'm going to give you stacking points from the previous to previous class. Take snapshots. You have 7 slides. So this was slide 1. Now slide 2. Slide 3. Slide 4. Slide 5. Slide 6. And slide 7. So bear with me for a few extra minutes. I will like to answer a few extra questions and give you stacking points from last class. So tolerate a few extra minutes. Thank you, please. Now this is inquiries from the previous class which are on Canto 5, Chapter 2. Question number 1 says, just wanted to know whose devotional service is more powerful? The one who does right from the beginning, like a brahmachari, or the one who takes vanaprastha towards the end and has started spirituality towards the end. So we have discussed in Bhagavad Gita 4.13 as well as Bhagavad Gita 18.41 that Krishna created Daivi Varnashram system, meaning a Brahmana does Brahmanical duties properly and he will go back to spiritual world in that Brahmana body. And a Shudra does Shudra duties properly and the Shudra will also go back to spiritual world in that Shudra body, from that Shudra body. And the same applies for Kshatriya and Vaishya. So this is Daivi Varnashram, that Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra perform their respective duties and they go back home, back to Godhead from their respective bodies. The traditional Varnashram is that Shudra does Shudra duties properly, then subsequent birth, this Shudra gets a Vaishya life, then he does Vaishya duties properly, then progresses to Kshatriya life in subsequent life, then does Kshatriya duties properly, and then subsequent life he gets Brahmana body. And by doing Brahmanical duties properly, that soul who started as a Shudra few lifetime ago now goes back to Godhead from that Brahmanical body. But in Daivi Varnashram, all Varna go back to spiritual world from their respective Varnas as long as they do the duties of that Varna properly. So going back to the question that whether one is Brahmachari or a Vanaprastha or any of the ashram, it does not matter. The power of devotional service depends on the intensity and sincerity of doing devotional service. Varna and ashram are irrelevant to determine devotional service advancement. Now, a long time ago, our dear Mother Jija had also asked a similar question, that it would have been better that I'm a brahmacharini or brahmachari living in ashram. And I say it's not possible. Because we have a grahastha life, we have a grahastha body, we have a grahastha karma, so we cannot be a brahmachari. Exactly what Arjuna was also trying to do, that, oh, I will renounce and I will go to forest in chapter 3 at the start. And Krishna says that is not possible because you have a Kshatriya body. And in chapter 3 Bhagavad Gita, around verse 31-33, Krishna says, what can repression accomplish? That you cannot repress your Varna nature. And you cannot just artificially put on a sannyasi dress and say, well, I am sannyasi. No, it doesn't work. You have a Kshatriya body, you will have to live as a Kshatriya. You have a Shudra body, you'll have to live as a Shudra. And do devotional services with intensity. And any Varna, it does not matter. Sincerity and intensity matters. Does that answer the inquiry?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Question number 2. What is the purpose of Canto 5, Chapter 2 in Srimad Bhagavatam, which is Amala Purana? So we have discussed this at the start of Canto 4, that initial chapter of Canto 4 is largely listing so many personalities. So why we read these chapters is because they are all connected to Krishna Katha. Canto 5, Chapter 2 purpose is to perform austerities and that beget a child in proper consciousness by following Garbhadan Samskar. Otherwise, if child is begetted in mode of passion like Agnidhara, then that impacts child's destination. That Agnidhara had attraction to go to Pitra Loka, even though he is born of a pure devotee Priyavrata. Does that answer the inquiry?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Question number 3. So this was the connection to the previous question about envy. Question 3 says, how to be non-envious when people have contradictory opinions to ours? So Srila Prabhupada has said in 4.8.34 is the way for devotees to live in the world so that one is not impacted by the threefold miseries. That if you meet someone more qualified, then one should be very pleased. If you meet someone equal, then make friends with him instead of becoming envious. And if you meet someone less qualified, then give your mercy, show compassion. So in essence of time, we will not read this verse I have on the screen. I have basically explained the crux of 4.8.34 that Prabhupada explains in the translation, as well as in the purport. Prabhupada says that if you live this way, then you will not have the threefold miseries of the material world. So read 4.8.34 later by yourself, so you don't have spiritual endeavors, and all these verses that I'm quoting, can use the time to read all of those. Does that answer the inquiry?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Last question for today. Thank you. Can Lord Shiva also understand the desires of living entities? So the demigod Shiva that we know in the material world, that demigod Shiva does not have creation responsibility. Therefore, the demigod Shiva does not know the desires of the Jiva. The Sada Shiva knows the spiritual desires of the Jiva when it is conveyed by the Lord to Sadashiva. So example, we read in the Prachetas section of Canto 4 that Shiva came to meet Prachetas because Prachetas were ready to perform austerities, and Shiva came to bless them. And at that time Shiva said, I know you are going to do devotional services and devotee of Krishna is very dear to me. So Krishna sends Shiva to Prachetas. So devotional desires, yeah, that will get conveyed to Shiva to give blessings and guidance. but not the material world desires. Does that answer the inquiry? All right, so these are stacking points
Yes,
from
Prabhuji.
thank you. These are stacking points from last class. You have 5 slides. Take a snapshot. This is slide 1. Slide 2. Slide 3. Slide 4. And slide 5. So based on all your submissions on the stacking points and your inquiries, I can judge you all are listening the class discussion with rapt attention. Therefore, you have so many nice points on the Google form that you populate. I thank you all for doing your endeavors very diligently week after week after week. Thank you all for tolerating 5-7 extra minutes.
Prabhuji,
Yeah.
I shall present the second presenter, devotee presenting number 1, number 2. I shall present the number 2, Prabhuji.
All right. Thank you.
That is slot chapter 1, B, chapter 5, 20 to 41. Yeah.
Yeah. Canto 5, chapter 1, verses 20 to 41. I populated your name.
Okay.
Thank you.
Prabhuji, can
Yeah.
I do the first one, Prabhuji?
Yeah, I will your name right now. Thank you. So, Madhajija will present the first slot, which is chapter 1.
He is always the pathfinder.
Yeah, Canto 1, sorry. Madhajija will present Canto 5, chapter 1, verses 1 to 19. Thank you, everybody. We'll stop here. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.